Alright, so now on to the next part of my checkerboard. I have the checkers basically drawn. Um, I said I like the constants. I added a couple here. I added pos, which equals 0, and maybe that's not the best name, but I'll explain why I use that in a little bit. And then regular. Decide to do checkers. As you can see here, it's a red board, not a white board. Regular and a king. Again, I use these constants here for a specific reason, really to make it easier for me to read. So we have R check is an empty list, and B check is an empty list. So it's the red checkers and the black checkers. So what do? I've created a function here to initialize the checkers to a beginning thing, and I'm going to basically use this pieces. I know there's 12 pieces to start a checkers game, so I'm going to create 12 pieces of for each red and for black. So how do I start? I'm going to iterate over the number of pieces. So I'm going to add, you see here, I'm appending 12 checkers to this one, and I'm appending 12 checkers to that one. So what is a checker going to have? A checker is going to have an XY coordinate. I think it ends up being simpler. I haven't finished the program yet, but I think it ends up being simpler if you capture the checkers as where they are on the board rather than where they are on the canvas. So each one is going to have an XY position of a board, so a row and a column. I'm just going to stick with the zeros and through 7 rather than 1 through 8 because this is Python. So what do I do here? I calculate Y. The Y, I'm just taking integer division and dividing by 4. I know that there's 4 in each row. That's pretty standard, right, for a checker game. So with 4 in each row, I know until I get to, the second set of 4, I'm going to be in row 0. Then I'm going to go to row 1, and then I'm going to go to row 2. The x-coordinate here is a little more complicated. So I skip every other one, so I know I'm going to start every other one. So what do I do here? I know I start on number 1 on the x just from looking at the board. So I'm going to say if it's the first one, or whatever one it is, I'm going to multiply by 2 and then take it mod 8 on it. Because once it gets above 8, I know it's no good as well. I'm going to add 1 because I know the first one shifted over, and then I'm going to subtract the row it's in. And the reason I subtract the row it's in is because in the second row it starts at 0 rather than this 1, so this takes out the 1 in the second row. And then I'll do modular division on that by 2, so when we get to the third row we're fine. Interestingly enough, the other side of the board where we put the black checkers are the opposite, so it's an offset from 7, and I just subtract the x and the y and I build it out. And so I do it in everything I do in a small function. It makes it easier to go back and isolate things. It's also, I think it ends up being easier to read at the end of the day, right? So this is a small function. It's a bit complicated, but it's small, and I know that the only thing going on in here is initializing the checkers. Should have some comments here, but I'm not great at that. Alright, so we can scroll down, and what else are we going to do? You can see I set this up on the drawing the canvas. First thing I draw the board, and then I draw the pieces. If you remember, I drew the board before. We don't really need to look at that again. So what do I do to draw the pieces? See these constants again. I'm going to figure out what the radius is. I just said, well, I want it to be smaller than the square, so I took the square size and took 80% of it, and then divided that all by 2. Figured I could get a radius that was about right. And then I'm going to draw it. So I need an x and a y, of course, to draw the circle, and that's going to be the center of the circle. So what do I do here? I have, for each checker, I have 1, and I'm going to take the first element of the list. And again, if you remember back up here, each checker, hid that. Each checker is actually 2 things. It's the position of the checker on the board, plus whether it's a king or not. So it has 2 elements. It's a list of a list. So the first element is the position. I don't want to have to remember what order I put things in once I set them up. So hey, I'm just going to index it by position. it's capital pos, and if you remember, I have that as a constant. So then I take the square size and do some math to figure out, where the center of each of the square is, depending where it is. Convert those into canvas coordinates. I've drawn green circles here and I've drawn yellow circles here because I haven't quite figured out how I want it to look yet. The checkers black on black, but if we run it, we'll see that it looks the way you would expect. There are my checkers and my checkers. Well, and that's it, right? So, the code probably took me about twice as long as it did to do this video. Another reminder, it's good to do things in short steps. Thanks, and we'll keep building it.